my friends, Kenny Chapman here, the Blue Collar Coach. Want to touch base this week with an instant meeting maker that challenges your mindset about accountability and results. What do I mean? Well, accountability is a word that gets thrown around a lot. Results is a word that gets thrown around a lot. In your organization, your company, you probably post some numbers and you might be held accountable for a specific sales goal, a percentage of things that you want to have happen when it comes to certain interactions, depending on your business, depending on exactly what you do. But here's what I want you to think about today. Today I want to talk to you about accountability and results. And I get coined as a motivational speaker. As a matter of fact, at the time that we're recording this, I'm getting ready to fly overseas for that exact reason, right? Because people want me to help motivate other people. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again to you. You cannot motivate another person. You can't. It's impossible. You can create an environment for someone to motivate themselves. Now, I will think about you as an amazing person in your organization, what you're doing. When you think about the roles that you have, when you go out every single day working on accomplishing your goals, whether you're in a CSR role and you're trying to improve your conversion rate, or you're a technician and you're working on better options presentation, whatever that is, it matters how you hold yourself accountable to those results. Now today, I want to talk a little bit about this motivation and accountability thing. I've got 7 things I'm going to share with you today, and I want you to write these down as we go. But before I get into 7 ways to be more accountable to myself, I want you to think about, when I say, I get hired as a motivational speaker and you can't motivate somebody. I learned that through the United States Army. Why? Because I joined the military, 1, because I was a punk kid that needed to get my head right, and 2, I didn't have any other options. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, and so I said, hey, here's where I'm going to go and get my head right, get my life back together, right? I don't want to take the exact path my father took. I don't want to do things I've seen. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do something different. And what happened? I joined the military, and then all of a sudden I arrive on this cattle car, and I'm a small town kid from Palisade, Colorado, and I get off. Military's motivating to me. Drill instructors, very motivating to me. High level of accountability, high expectation of result, and yet we dropped multiple soldiers during our 8-week boot camp. It's 8 weeks. I literally I told my team the other day, I'm flying overseas. I got an 8-hour flight out of Chicago. I said, I can stand on my head for 8 hours. I told myself when I was going to boot camp, I can stand on my head for 8 weeks if I have to. I'll get through it somehow, some way. I don't have many other options. Now, what does that mean? Other soldiers dropped out. Other soldiers called mom. Other soldiers said, this is too hard. You shouldn't talk about my mom that way. You shouldn't talk about my sister that way. You shouldn't speak to me that way. You shouldn't flip my bunk. We shouldn't be doing 10-mile rucksack runs. I'm out. Guess what? Private Chapman maybe didn't have too many other options, so he hung in there, so he stuck with it. Now, you're not in the military today unless you're a reservist, and if you're a veteran, I appreciate your service, and I thank you for that. But I want you to think about this. What if you became your own drill instructor, put that in air quotes? And I want you to think about this. I'm going to jump into these 7 things I want to share with you today. Because when you start looking at becoming more accountable to get better results, it starts with you. You probably have a pretty darn good service manager. You probably have some good sales coaching. You have some good ability to get better. But ultimately, it comes back to me. Because here's the thing. My drill instructors did not hold me accountable. They created an environment, and I held myself accountable to that. If we had to be in formation at 4 o'clock in the morning and we got to bed at 1:30, it's a 2.5 hour sleep, and it is what it is. They didn't motivate me. They said you got to be up at 4 o'clock. You get 2.5 hours of sleep today, and we're going to do a 10-mile run. And I said, oh, that's the environment. Will I motivate myself or not? Now, as a professional technician, as a professional CSR, as a professional dispatcher, as somebody who is driving results in your life, I want you to think about these things, right? It starts with you and your why. And I want you to remember this, my friends. Small hinges swing big doors. And when we think about accountability and we think about results, it's the little thing. What does that mean? It's the alarm went off and I'm planning to go to the gym today, but it's that quick I can hit snooze and change my entire day, change my entire week, change my entire life. Why? Because that one simple thing. Now, I want you to write this down. Number 1, set many goals. And that's not M-A-N-Y. That's M-I-N-I. Many goals. What does that mean? We need to win, my friends. We need progress, not perfection. We need to continue to move forward. Tony Robbins said it best. We desire progress more than anything in life. Why? Because if you're a billionaire, believe it or not, billionaires have scarcity mindset around money. Why? They might run out. Really? We could spend a lot of dough every day for a long time and not run out of money, but they've got that, right? So what does that mean? If a billionaire, they're going, I want to add another 100 million. That's a mini goal for them, perhaps. How about you? What I want you to think about is, what about a KPI goal, a key performance indicator, something that you track or your company tracks for you when it comes to independent results? Is it close rate on the phone? Is it close rate in the field? Is it right tech, right dispatch? Is it how many dollars a day do I generate as a call taker? Because call takers are revenue producers too. Set many goals, M-I-N-I. Number 2, write this down. Avoid the gap. Now, what does that look like? What do I mean, avoid the gap? So Dan Sullivan, one of my greatest mentors and friends, I'll call him Friendtor, taught me this concept through Strategic Coach. And it's about that, here's the deal. Wherever you are today in your role, you want something new. You want something different, right? When you do that, you create a gap. Now, where you are and where you want to go. Now we've got a gap. You've got to avoid that. You've got to manage that. That means if I've got a 68% conversion rate as a plumbing technician, and some of you went, oh my gosh, that's terrible, right? And I want to get to 72, I want to get to 85, whatever the numbers are, whatever type your business model is, wherever you're running calls, what I want you to think about is, what's my 2 points? What's a couple percentages, right? Think about that. Stay out of the gap. You drop in and you go, oh my gosh, everything's awful. No, it's pretty darn amazing, really. So you've got to stay out of that, because when you get to the 3rd thing, write this down. Seek accountability. Seek accountability. Every top producer, every top performer in the world has coaching. Has, built in, we'll say the baked in ability to get better, the baked in ability to speak about what really matters. And you have that in management. You have that in the ability to reach out to us, whatever that looks like. I have technicians reach out to me all the time. Why? Because I care, because I'm a tech at heart. And I know I had to seek self-accountability because I ran 3 drain calls and all of a sudden owned a drain cleaning business. And I had no business being in business, but I had to find my way. And when you think about seeking self-accountability, right? 3rd step, as I said, write it down. I want you to think about Mo. Mo was my karate instructor when I was a kid. When I was a kid, meaning my sophomore, junior, senior year in high school. And Mo was a guy that now we know probably not legally ran a karate studio that he didn't charge us to go to. Literally, there was no fee to go learn karate. And Mo was a 5th degree black belt. And what happened is he would come out to practice. He's a retired guy. He reminded me of Mr. Miyagi, a little short guy, a little fifth-degree black belt. And here's what I want you to take away today as you think about these things, as we work through. When you look at accountability, Mo would come out there and he'd stand like this. He'd have his arms crossed like this, and he's shorter than me, believe it or not. And he's watching, and you had to get invited as a player. Now, I'm growing up in small town Colorado. There's literally 400 people in my entire high school, and this guy's going out to football practice in the afternoon, watching and going, hey, you might be a fit for my karate program. And it almost became where it was an amazing thing to get invited in. Now, what does this mean to you? What this means is everybody needs accountability. And what this meant for us as football players, those of us that did get picked to get into this program, now what we didn't realize is I didn't sign up to learn how to fight at all. I can defend myself. I've got enough of the basics of becoming a brown belt in karate that, okay, whatever, that's fine. Here's the thing. Mo taught me it's about your mind. Mo taught me that if I'm in a position, and you can't see it on camera, but if my foot is off by a quarter of an inch, that changes my stance, that changes my game, and I don't have the discipline in my mind to put my foot in the right position. Think about you. Think about your career. Think about where you're going. See, we all need the sensei. We all need somebody helping us out. But at the end of the day, it was up to me. So if you got in a little argument or you had a spat, guess what? You better never use karate if you were in Mo's class. There's no reason to ever use it at all. Why? Because you can diffuse situation. Yeah, if you get attacked, whatever, that's fine. No fight should ever last more than 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's what does that mean? Where are you at when you get with your client? Where are you at when you go, you know what? I've got more accountability. I am willing to ask the right questions. I'm willing to kick it up a notch, and I'm not going to get kicked in the teeth here. I'm going to build an options presentation. What does that look like? Think about that. Number 4, write this down. Massive action. You've got to take massive action. So when Mo invited us into the program, a few of my buddies and whatever, you had to bring Gatorade. Every once a month, I think it was, you had to bring Gatorade to the thing, right? And now I know he didn't charge. Why? Because it's illegal. What he was doing was not safe or fair. He would beat us up if we weren't in line. And so now I think about that. It's massive action. I don't want you to beat yourself up. I want you to go get better results. I want you to go connect with clients better. I want you to answer the phone at a higher level. I want you to manage and lead team at an entirely different scope. But I want you to think about that. Massive action. Number 5, write this down. When you think about moving forward, when you really think about like what would make me better, I want you to think about this. Improve your strength. Improve your strength. Write that down. What does that mean? I'm really good at a few things in life. Not very many, but a few. You're really good at certain things in your career. You're really good at certain angles. You're really good at certain conversations, certain questions, certain options presentations, certain ways to book calls on the phone, certain ways to communicate with team. You're really good at those things, right? Improve them. Get better when it comes to those. I want you to write that down. Number 5, improve your strength. And then we go to 6, write this down. Manage weakness. See, a lot of people, and I bring this up because when we're looking at accountability equaling results, when we think about a lot of people that go, you know what, I suck at this, I'm not good at that, I really have a hard time here, I struggle here, and they spend their entire life. Dan Sullivan, I mentioned him early straight away today in the training. Dan Sullivan says, you know, if you spend your entire life improving your weaknesses, you end up at the end of your life with a whole lot of better weaknesses? What if you unleash your $1 million racehorse? What if you unleash who you truly are? What if you set aside and go, you know what? I'm going to manage my weaknesses. I'm going to work on, I'm afraid to ask certain questions. Cool. Let's dive in there. Let's look at what is that? That's a weakness. Why? It's tied to confidence. It's tied to communication. It's not a weakness at all. It's a statistic. It's something to give you a chance to improve. So I want you to be mindful of that. And then, when we get to the last point today, get you out of here at a good time, get you running your calls. But I want you to think about this. What are your excuses? And write this down. Number 7, eliminate excuses. What does that mean? That means that you can find a reason for anything. We could dive into your childhood. You could lay on a couch and tell me about how bad your life's been, and we can find a reason for anything on the planet. We also can look the other way and go, you know what? A lot of people have had things challenging in their lives. A lot of people have overcome a lot of things. A lot of people haven't made certain excuses. You know what? If you're watching this, what I know is you probably live in the United States, Canada, or Australia, where the Blue Collar Success Group makes our impact. And what does that mean? Stop whining. We've got another video for you on that. Larry Wingett, he spoke at one of my conferences a while back, and Larry Wingett has a book called Stop Whining, Shut Up, and Get Alive. And I wasn't planning on talking about this today. It just kind of came to me, and I want you to think about that when we go no excuses, because Larry's a kind of an in-your-face guy, and I'm not going to say that to you today about shut up, stop whining, and get a life, like Larry's book is called, entitled. But I will say, stop with the excuses. You're where you are because you're supposed to be where you are. If, I started as a dead broke drain cleaner. I don't have a clue what's going on. I barely got out of high school, and yet somehow I found a way to get better and improve. And the same is true for you. I don't care if you're a brand new apprentice or you're a 15-year call center manager. What I care about is your next level. And when we start thinking about what are these goals looking like? How do I avoid the gap? How do I dive into that self-accountability? How do I go into more massive action, improving my strengths, managing my weaknesses, and ultimately eliminating excuses? As I said, when I was in the military, possibly I didn't have enough of another shot because I had to stay. I didn't know where else to go. Other people were able to manufacture excuses in their mind and go, this isn't fair, it's not right, it doesn't feel right, whatever that looks like. What about you? Accountability equals results. I'm Kenny Chapman, the Blue Collar Coach. Until we talk, have a better than fantastic week, and we'll see you real soon.
Hey, I want to take an opportunity to say thank you for watching this video and subscribing. My question for you is, what are your revenue goals this year? Why don't you drop them in the comments below? And remember this, you're either winning or you're learning.